I'm here today with a first impressions review demo how it wears video on the Givenchy Matissime Velvet Radiant Matte Fluid Foundation with Sunscreen. And here's what the beautiful packaging looks like. It's in a gorgeous glass bottle, as it should be if you're spending $54 on a foundation. Obviously has a pump as well. And I am in the shade Matte Honey number 05, which I do have a little bit of a self tan on, and I find that this color works perfectly even as my self tan kind of wears off. I find that they do run a little bit light because Matte Honey, I've never been honey in any sort of foundation shade ever. So I think the shades do run a little bit light because, as you can see, I'm not like super tan and dark, and it works perfectly. There's not a whole lot of shades in this range. There's only 8 shades, really only, at least online, 3 darker shades than this. So for all my dark skin girls, more tan girls, you may have trouble finding a shade, or maybe can't even find a shade in this foundation because the darkest shade is Matte Amber, which is number 08. And this again is number 05. Online on Sephora, it says that it is a medium sheer coverage, normal to combination skin, satin matte, radiant natural. All right, so basically it is every kind of finish it could possibly be. It does have SPF 20 in it, and it says it's a matte foundation that's inspired by the feel and comfort of velvet that's straight from the runways. Delicateness of velvet, Matissime Velvet mattifies the complexion instantly with long-lasting hold while keeping skin balanced and allowing it to breathe. Dual mattifying technology instantly imparts a matte effect. The airy structure of silica microspheres optimize the absorption of excess sebum and moisture while allowing the skin to breathe. It gives skin a lasting matte effect, while a botanical trio targets oily areas without drying out the dry and normal areas of the skin. Protected with a special coating, pigments extend color hold. That is like the longest description of a foundation ever, and I'm not even done. It refines, protects, and evens out your skin tone. The foundation is enriched with black cumin oil, which is renowned for its purifying benefits, helps protect the skin and reveal its pure beauty. On application, burnet, ginger, and cinnamon extracts help tighten the pores. Small imperfections are concealed and the appearance of pores is reduced. It leaves a radiant, unifying matte finish on the skin that preserves its fine texture and natural glow. Holy crap, that is a lot of claims and a lot of words. So it claims to do a lot of things. It says it's sheer to medium coverage. It is good for normal to combo skin, so if you have really oily skin, it may not be for you. It's supposed to be a satin finish, a matte finish, a radiant finish, and a natural finish. And then it's supposed to do all kinds of stuff as far as reduce the sebum, but still keep your skin moisturized, reduce the appearance of pores. It's supposed to be radiant yet matte. It's supposed to be long wearing. So there is a ton of claims with this foundation, and it has been really hard to find a shade that is in stock. Online on Sephora, most of the shades have been out of stock for about 2 months now, but I was lucky enough to find it when I went to Hawaii, and I'm really excited to test this foundation because, like I said, it has a ton of claims. So if you guys want to see how it wears, how it applies, does it live up to all of the claims that it makes, then stay tuned. I've already primed my skin with my Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer, which is what I always use. And we're going to go in with the foundation. This is in the shade 05 Matte Honey. I do have a self tan on. It's already washed off my face. So let's see if this is a good match. So it actually is kind of a creamy foundation. Look at my hands. For some reason, I swear they don't look as yellow as they look on camera, but I don't know. Every self tanner I use literally makes my hands yellow. No matter what. Just always makes my hands yellow. It's the weirdest thing. All right, I think it's because like originally they start out tan, and then once I start washing them after I've tanned, you know, every time you go to the bathroom, when you're cooking, you wash your hands, obviously. I feel like it makes them fade yellow. It's weird. Anyways, all right, so I have one pump on this side. We're gonna start off with the Beauty Blender and blend it out. It does have a little bit of a scent. I find that it smells just like all the other Givenchy foundations. I've tried one other one, and it is the Tint Couture Blurring Balm or something like that, and I really loved that foundation a lot. All right, so it's not super full coverage. I have a nice little pimple on my cheek. I don't know where she came from, but she decided to bless me with her presence the other day. So one pump did not really cover that up very much. Didn't really cover up a whole lot of anything. It kind of evened out a little bit of the redness. Let's try one pump on this side with a brush and see if that covers a little bit better. And this is a Lexi flat angle blending brush. Let's see if that buffs it and gives it a little bit more coverage. I love the smell of this foundation. It smells so good. And the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, literally it's the only palette I've used since I've gotten it. For about a week now. It's been the only palette I've used. I can't stop with it. I'm not really finding a huge difference between the Beauty Blender side and the brush side. So one pump on each side, we're at 2 pumps, and it is a light to medium coverage. So let's build up in some of these areas and see if we can get a little bit more coverage here. So since I'm not noticing a huge difference coverage-wise between the two, I just like to use my Beauty Blender. If you like a real full coverage foundation, this is not gonna be the foundation for you unless you wanna use a ton of product, because I feel like I am at borderline medium coverage. We've obviously built up a lot in certain areas, and honestly, it doesn't feel tacky at all. It feels very, very light on the skin. And if I pull my mirror up close, wow, it looks really pretty. Like, it looks really nice. It doesn't look heavy. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look like thick. Still see my blemish right there, but my skin kind of still peeks through, which I don't mind. I'm not huge on full coverage foundation anyways, so I actually like this coverage. I just hate that I have like this thing happening, but I think it looks really, really beautiful. Like, it's not accentuating texture, it's not accentuating fine lines or pores. Yeah, it looks really, really pretty. I'll finish up with the rest of my face and then I'll check back in, let you know how everything else applied. It is currently 9:14. I will check back in just a few minutes. All right, so I have finished up all of my makeup and I'm here to kind of let you know my thoughts as far as first impressions, applying makeup over it, and what I think of it kind of once I have a full face. So once I went back to film the intro, it does say it is a sheer to medium coverage. Totally agree with that. Like I said when I was trying it on originally, if you're a full coverage makeup kind of girl, this may not be for you. It's definitely a sheer to buildable medium, which I actually really like. And it says it's satin, matte, and radiant and natural finish. I kind of agree with that, as weird as that may be, because it's claiming to be 4 different finishes. It is very natural, which is what I said when I first put it on. It looks really beautiful. You can't tell that you're really wearing makeup. It does have a nice mattifying effect while still having like a radiance to it, which is really, really beautiful. As I was looking in the mirror and I went and got coffee really quick, I was looking in the the fold down mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you really know if your foundation looks good when you look in your pull down mirror, because something about being in the sunlight or being in your car really does show you all the imperfections. It shows you if your makeup looks crappy, and this looks so beautiful. It does minimize the appearance of pores. I looked in the mirror and I was like, dang, my skin looks really good. Not only does it look even, it looks radiant, it looks not greasy, and it just looks really natural and smooth and small tight pores, and it doesn't accentuate any imperfections. So far it lives up to many of the claims, because it has a ton of claims, as you guys heard in the intro. It claims to do a lot. So we're gonna see how it wears throughout the day. It is now 10:43. I'm gonna wear it all day. We're gonna see if it is still mattifying, if the technology in it that helps reduce the sebum production, if that holds up and it keeps me from being really oily. And I'm really excited to see kind of how it wears throughout the day. This is a really fun foundation for me, and when foundations are out of stock for long periods of time, I get really excited when I get my hands on it, because I'm like, it must be good. And the claims on it are pretty high, the reviews are pretty good, so I am stoked. Back in a little bit and we will see how it is holding up. All right, I thought I'd do a really quick check-in before I'm heading to the gym. It is about 1:30. And foundation is holding up great. I do have a little bit of shininess kind of in my T-zone. I was filming a lot of videos earlier, and so those lights tend to get really, really hot. So I find that it starts to break up a little bit or get shiny. But let me look in Mamiya here. It's definitely not breaking up though. It just is a little bit dewy kind of in this section. I feel like the light makes it look dewier than it actually is, because I have like this bright little beaming light here. But so far so good. Little pimple. It's holding up really well, just a little bit shiny, so I might hit it with some powder before I run into the gym. So I'll be back. It's about 8 o'clock, so I've had this foundation on for about close to 12 hours now, and definitely a little bit greasy in between my eyebrows and on my forehead. A lot of it has kind of came off. Definitely got pretty oily right here around my T-zone. Around here on my chin. I feel like on my cheeks it's kind of still there, but my blush and bronzer has definitely gotten very, very splotchy. Definitely think that 12 hours of wear, this isn't going to make it if you need it to last that long. If you need it to last about 8 hours, I felt like it was holding up really well for about 8 hours, and then it kind of slowly started to go downhill after that. But I really liked the way it looked for probably the first 6 hours. Was probably my favorite. Very light on the skin, makes your skin look beautiful, natural, radiant, matte, makes your pores look smaller, and looks really beautiful on the skin. And then it kind of starts to go downhill a little bit at the 8-hour mark. So if it's a foundation that you don't need to last all day long, or maybe it's just for a special event, I really, really like it. I think it's really pretty. If you're needing something to be super long wearing for like a 10 to 12 hour shift or a work day or school day, this probably wouldn't be it unless you have normal to dry skin. I have combo skin, and so my T-zone tends to get a little bit more oily, which it's definitely broken down the foundation. Even broke down on my cheeks as far as like my blush is like super splotchy, and so is my bronzer. So that is my final thoughts. I personally really like it for the hours that it wears well. It looks really, really beautiful. As long as I don't need it to be like a super long wearing foundation, I think it's good. So it's up to you. What do you guys think at the $54 price mark? Is it worth it? Is it not? Have you tried it? What are your thoughts? Definitely think that it is a standard wear. I wouldn't consider it a long wearing foundation. I've definitely had other foundations last longer and look better for a longer period of time. Although I do think it's really pretty, and I do like the way it looks on my skin for those first, 8 hours. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!